on November 14th, 2017. Welcome, everyone. We got a full house tonight. That's exciting to see. We are going to get started tonight by calling roll first. Please do that, please.
Okay. Commissioner Abraham?
Present.
Commissioner Holland?
Present.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Hurlis?
Present. And before we get started, we have lost a very special person in our city, Murray Looper, who our city has known for a long time. I unfortunately didn't get to know him as well as I know some of our employees did. So I want to take a minute, if you don't mind, to have a moment of silence and just thinking about his family and their tremendous loss. Thank you. And just for everyone to know, his arrangements tomorrow night from 5 to 8 is the visitation, and Thursday night at 6 p.m. is the funeral. So at Heartland Worship Center. So we're thinking about you, Looper family. Just know that. If Commissioner Holland doesn't mind leaving us in the invocation, I'd appreciate that. Please stand.
Dear Lord, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Give us a spirit of service. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us and to treat all persons with the reverence they deserve. We seek a sense of the welfare and the true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, and the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement. We also ask that you be with Mr. Looper's family. Amen.
Amen. If you'll stay standing, we have some special guests here tonight from the Cub Scout Pack 2020. We have Eli Glisson, correct? Gio, and Dave Heller. Thank you all so much. Will you lead us in the pledge tonight? Whenever you're ready.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There are none.
Thank you very much. We have quite a bit to do tonight, so if you don't mind coming on up, Bobby is from the Kentucky League of Cities organization, and she's here to present an exciting award to us.
Yes, it's an
Welcome.
honor to be with you all, Mayor and Commissioners. Such a pleasure to be with you this evening. We were so pleased that Paducah was one of our Enterprise City Award winners this year, and I've taken a few comments out of the application that you all submitted, and I'll just spend just a second to review this for those who may not know what the award is for. The Pat and Jim Brockenborough Rotary Health Park is what we're honoring tonight and the work that's gone on there. We're so excited about this. Paducah and McCracken County had a 15.5% obesity rate in 2016 and began to partner with the health department in McCracken County to address and create activities over at the Fountain Avenue Health Park. And so lots of things have occurred there, and Fountain Avenue area is wonderful. I got to tour that last year, and I'm so excited at the work you all have done. But through amazing partnerships, there are 10 different community groups that have partnered with the city, and the nominations submitted for the Enterprise City Award said the park is an example of passionate citizens and an engaged city government helping to accomplish more together than either could ever do on their own. And so with great pride, we present to the city tonight the Kentucky League of Cities Enterprise City Award. And we also, because we had a sponsor for this award, Collins and Company, have provided a $1,000 donation to the city to go toward further development. So thank you all for your great work. And Mayor, I'll present
Thank you.
this.
Yes, please. That's heavy. It's heavier than it looks.
$1,000 is in coins in the end.
Oh, I would believe that with the weight of that. Well, congratulations to our staff. I know a lot of our staff, Mark Thompson, worked very, very, very hard to make sure that this health park was a reality. So congratulations to everyone in the city.
And I just have to say that Bobby and I grew up about a mile from each other in Kirksey, so it's good to see you again. Thank you for making the trip to be here.
Yes. Okay, so we have two resolutions, very important ones to do tonight. I'm going to call Colonel Slowinski up to the podium if you don't mind. We've been chatting with the Sustainment Brigade of the 101st for a couple of months now about how we can join in with them in supporting active duty soldiers, but also veterans, and how we can work closer together since we're not that far away from each other. So I'm going to read this resolution if you don't mind, and then I'll let you say a few words if you'd like to. So, a resolution recognizing a partnership between the City of Paducah, Kentucky, and the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault Sustainment Brigade, whereas we gratefully acknowledge that we live in freedom today because of the many sacrifices that have been made and are being made today by the valiant servicemen and women in the armed forces and their families. And whereas the 101st Airborne Division, Screaming Eagles, is the United States Army's only air assault division whose high level of training, discipline, and professionalism make the 101st Airborne Division the vanguard of America's land combat forces with 5 division-level deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan over the last 15 years. And whereas the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault Sustainment Brigade is approximately 3,300 soldiers strong and comprised of the 101st Special Troops Battalion, 129th Combat Sustainment Support Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 44th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, and the 716th Military Police Battalion, currently has soldiers deployed all over the world in countries such as Afghanistan, Kosovo, Egypt, and Cameroon. And whereas since the attack on 9/11, over 630 soldiers from the 101st Airborne Division have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms we enjoy in our nation and our community. 12 soldiers were from the 101st Airborne Division Sustainment Brigade, with countless others bearing the invisible mental and emotional wounds of war. And whereas it is fitting and proper for the City of Paducah to extend its continuing support in partnership to honor the 101st Airborne Division Sustainment Brigade and the 101st Airborne Division's many years of heroism and sacrifice in defense of our country's freedom. Now therefore be it resolved on behalf of all of our residents, the Paducah City Commission is proud to recognize, support, and partner with the 101st Airborne Division and the 101st Airborne Division Sustainment Brigade, its military members and their families for their service sacrifices in all they do. And be it further resolved that the Paducah City Commission encourages all municipalities and communities within, as well as schools, churches, organizations, and residents, to fully support the partnership efforts with the 101st Airborne Division, the 101st Airborne Division Sustainment Brigade, its military members, and their families now and into the future as they continue to defend our democracy, our security, and our national values. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Mayor Harless, City Commissioners. Thank you so much. I'm proud to be here on behalf of our 3,300 soldiers in 101st Airborne Division Sustainment Brigade. And as the resolution said that Mayor Harless just read, we currently have 350 soldiers deployed to nine countries. And we're getting ready to send several hundred more to all over the globe here in the spring of 2018. And so we believe that this partnership is a great way to connect with the citizens of Paducah. It's a great way for the citizens of Paducah to show their support for our unit that's deployed all over the globe. And we would like to continue to find ways to partner with the community. And we participated in the Veterans Day Parade last week. We had the color guard up here. We've sent vehicles up here for various displays. We want to partner with schools, veteran services organizations, et cetera, to continue to grow this partnership that we have with this fine American city. And so I look forward to the opportunity. Look forward to hearing from all of you while we're deployed downrange to stay connected with the community and our soldiers. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. We're going to make this official for a second before we hand this over to you. Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you. And take the roll, please.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye. And I hand this to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
And really quick, just so our community, yes, absolutely. And just so our community knows, there's quite a bit of talk going on with other organizations and the Chamber of Commerce. Also, Paducah Bank has been talking a lot how we can work closer together. So we're looking forward to those partnerships continuing. And we were just talking about an idea before that I want to put out there in case anyone wants to take advantage of that. But since we are going to see some troops deployed, more troops deployed, there's an opportunity for us to send supports and video supports and words of encouragement. So if you're out there and you're interested in doing that, please reach out to my office and we'll help to coordinate that effort. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. So we have another resolution tonight to honor a very important person in our community that has unfortunately passed, but we have his great family, a lot of you out there tonight. I'm so glad that you were able to make it tonight. So I'm actually going to call Officer Patterson's family up, if you don't mind, to the podium along with Chief Barnhill. And then I'm going to read you the resolution, and if you guys want to say a few words, you're welcome to, but don't feel pressured. And if you all have 5-minute speeches, we're going to be here for a while. No, but you're welcome to. Absolutely, you are. Okay, this one's a shorter one than the last one I read, so it won't take as long, okay? This is in memory of Robert Lee Patterson. Whereas Robert Lee Patterson served as police chief for Paducah, Kentucky from 1985 to 1992, and whereas Mr. Patterson was the first African-American police chief in the city of Paducah and in the state of Kentucky, and whereas Mr. Patterson was instrumental in starting the area's DARE program and the West Kentucky Narcotics program, and whereas the many contributions Mr. Patterson made to the city of Paducah will live on as his legacy, and his accomplishments will continue to influence this community for years to come. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, on behalf of its citizens, offer their condolences to the family of Robert Lee Patterson and express their gratitude for his commitment and leadership in our community. Thank you all.
And I second.
Please.
I'd also like to say I knocked on your father's door during the election, and he invited me in, and we had an amazing and very enlightening conversation. He had lots of things to tell me that he thought I needed to know, and he was right. And so I just wanted to say it was one of my favorite experiences knocking on doors.
Chief, do you want to say a few words?
Mayor, Commission, City Manager, thank you for obviously recognizing Chief Patterson. His leadership and the examples that he provided to the department, to the community, still resonate with us today. And I would echo your comment. You know, whenever you had a conversation with him, you left there feeling grateful, full of good stories and knowledge, both. But he was just a wonderful man, and we certainly are glad to recognize him and the family here tonight.
Absolutely. Anyone want to say anything?
Just want to thank everyone for what you've done. His legacy will live on between all of us and those he's touched in the community. I think what he did as a police officer set an example of what police officers are meant to be. He was good for Paducah, and I think people respected him for what he did. So like I said, just thank you guys again, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we're still thinking about you. I'm going to bring this over to you guys.
Thank you.
Whoever wants to take that, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Robert Patterson, Jr. I would just like to thank Mayor Harless, City Commissioners, family, and friends. I'd like to say that, you know, my dad, our dad, he enjoyed what he did. And he cared for people. That meant a lot to him. And whenever that he could always show light to people and let them know, this is the way that you should live and these are the things that you should do. That meant a lot to him. He wanted to set good examples for his family and for the people that he worked for. And I know it meant a lot to him when he was here, and that the people that he worked with, so that he knew that whatever he said, that he stood by. And I want to thank you all for this. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yes.
I need to call the roll on that.
Yes, please.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Holland,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Harless.
Aye. All right, next up, we have the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests. Good night. Safe travels. Thank you all. Anyone have any items they need to take off the consent agenda?
I do not.
No? Okay. City Clerk, would you read the items recommended for approval, please?
Consent agenda for November 14th, 2017. Minutes for the November 7th, 2017 City Commission meeting. Receive and file documents, personnel actions, and a municipal order approving the annual letter of commitment for accreditation for Paducah Main Street by the Kentucky Heritage Council as a certified Kentucky Main Street program for January 15, 2018 through January 30th, 2019, and authorizing the mayor to execute the annual letter of commitment. That's all the items.
So moved.
I need a second.
He said second.
Second.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I did.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Holland,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Harless.
Aye. All right, next up, I'm actually going to abstain from this vote. I'm going to ask Commissioner Wilson to take over the meeting, and then I'm going to go to that podium and present information about this, okay? All right, this will be fun.
Are you going to need
Do I need to move over there?
Do you want the
Do I need to move there?
Yeah, I think you're fine right there.
Do I need to read this first?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay. I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Approving and Authorizing a Memorandum of Understanding with Brandy Harless and husband Adam Moyers, granting a one-year extension for completion of rehabilitation for real property located at 421 North 5th Street," be adopted.
Second.
Hey.
Okay. So would you like to give us some information about why you're asking for the extension?
Yes, please. First of all, I want to say, directors, I understand how this feels now when you get up here to do this. Yes, so Adam and I, my husband and I, we purchased the house on the $1 program 2 years ago now. And at the same time, we also started work on our development on Broadway. And our timeline was such that we thought we could get it all done. Well, guess what? We didn't. So we have, though, stabilized the house right away when we purchased the house. We put a new roof on it, and we tuck pointed the brick to make sure that no other deterioration happened to the property. So it's been sitting very stable for the last year. And so we are now in the bidding process. We are getting contractors, general contractors coming over, looking at our drawings, giving us some of those bids to make sure that we can get this started in January. So we will start doing construction in the early part of 2018. They say it's about a 4 to 6 month process to get it finished. It's a much smaller project than the one we did on Broadway, so we know we can handle it. And that's why we're asking for the extension. So we still have every intention. We've already spent quite a bit of money to make sure it's stabilized, and we have every intention on completing the project. So we're just asking for an extension.
You also took off the front deck.
We did take off the front deck, yes.
Point that out.
So I know you had rehabilitation going on and preservation on a project on Broadway that you've completed.
Yes.
Okay, so you're ready to move on.
We're ready.
So
Yep.
it says on here that Tamara Tracy was going to say something. Do you have
Oh,
any
sorry about that.
comments
I took your...
for the city planner?
We didn't talk about this
Part of the
before.
program.
Go for it.
Staff is recommending approval of this action that you're considering. We do believe that the project is going forward quite nicely. We do not anticipate any hitches involved. We have the construction drawings, and everything looks like it should proceed without any delay at all. But we all know what the weather is like, and so we would encourage the extension to be for the full year, just in case, so we don't have to go through this again. And that concludes it.
Okay.
I'd answer any questions if you would have any.
Do you all have any questions?
I'm sure you're making that statement under your own free will, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you said you do have the plans.
Yes, they're right here.
Anyone else?
No.
Okay, City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson?
Aye. And now back to you.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Rhodes, you have another municipal order?
Yes, ma'am. A municipal order of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, approving a severance and release agreement within the city manager and authorizing the execution of the agreement. Whereas on December 7th, 2010, the city and Jeffrey A. Peterson, city manager, entered into an agreement for the employment with subsequently amended on December.
Wait, it should say November.
Wait a minute.
No, he's just.
Well, that's all I got.
Is he supposed to read all of that?
No. He can read this part.
Okay.
It's also the wrong date.
Oh, that's much
Oh,
shorter.
the start date. Sorry, that
All
got me
right.
off guard.
No, it's correct.
Okay. You sure?
Yes.
This is a well-oiled machine up here. Try it again. I move that a municipal order entitled, A Municipal Order of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, approving a severance and release agreement with the city manager and authorizing the execution of the agreement be adopted.
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye.
Here it is down here.
And just so everyone is very clear, the document you were about to read is in the meeting packet online.
Well, I
We just
found-
weren't going to read all the legalese up here.
Okay.
So it's available, just so no one thinks that we're trying to not read something that is not available to the public. So
All
just
right,
want to
well,
make that
it
clear.
Behind
Yeah.
the newspaper.
And I started saying,
Okay.
I bet you found your motion, didn't you?
Well, I did, but it was buried in something else.
Just want everybody to know, I did not leave that out.
All right, moving forward, Commissioner Holland.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2017-06-8487, entitled, an ordinance adopting the City of Paducah, Kentucky annual budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018 by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. This ordinance is summarized as follows: that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018, ordinance number 2017-06-8487, be amended by the following reappropriations. Transfer $320,000 from solid waste fund reserves to the solid waste fund, $5,000. Transfer $25,000 from general fund reserves to the transient boat dock fund, $5,300. Transfer $52,000 from general fund reserves to general government general fund, $1,000. Transfer $72,000 from fleet lease trust fund reserves to the fleet lease trust fund, $7,100. Say that 5 times fast.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye. And Commissioner Wilson.
No, it's
Just kidding. Commissioner Abraham.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, granting Comcast Cable Heartland Region, formerly known as Comcast of the South LP, and franchise extension. This ordinance is summarized as follows: that the City of Paducah and Comcast Cable Heartland Region, formerly known as Comcast of the South LP agreed to amend Section 23 of the franchise agreement and extending the term of such franchise indefinitely on a month-to-month basis, and the mayor is hereby authorized to execute said franchise extension.
Second.
May I comment briefly?
Please, yes.
Please note it's a month-to-month extension, and we really don't anticipate it to run more than a couple months. We, of course, have been waiting for the Supreme Court decision to come down and then a determination on the franchise fee, and I think we got the best possible news. You were all sent a memo on that some weeks ago that I think will actually result in a little additional revenue for the city. I might add, since that time, too, we've also had some informal discussions back and forth with Comcast that have indicated some movement on some of the early positions that Comcast took in what we considered to be the wrong direction. So we have a meeting scheduled, I think, the second week in December, Pam, in which we expect to resolve this and have something ready for you to consider, probably the first meeting in January.
Okay. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Holland?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Harless?
Aye. And Commissioner Wilson?
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the 911 ordinance for purposes of allowing the city to audit telephone companies for compliance with the city's fee provisions. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The city hereby amends Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 6, 911 Communication Services of the Paducah Code of Ordinances, allowing the city to audit telephone companies for compliance with the city's fee provisions, and sets out penalties as follows. Section 2-329 Penalties. Any person and or entity in violation of the provisions of Section 2-327A or B shall be subject to a penalty equal to 5% of the total fees due for each day or fraction thereof that the fees for services is late.
Need a second, please?
Second.
Ed, do you want to make comments on this? You, okay.
Okay. Briefly summarize, I guess, what Commissioner Wilson just said, and actually, if the time's appropriate, give you a brief snapshot of what's going on, catch up at 911. As you know, we have a landline tax, $2.50 in the city and $1.50 for the county. That comes to us. We look at that revenue. It was suspected some time ago there may be some inaccuracy. So with working with John Perkins and his camp, IT, Chief Kyle, Chief Barnhill, and Stacy Blankenship, we've met several times, and we determined that there could be some discrepancies. So in the event that we should have to take a legal position to rectify their reporting and accounting, we need an amendment to be able to do that, and that's primarily what this is about. Questions?
Do you have any idea the sort of, oh, did I interrupt? I'm sorry, Sandra.
No, go ahead.
Commissioner Wilson. Do you have any idea of the sort of how bad this could be?
It's kind of like herding cats, is what I've said from day one. There are, across the country, regionally, there are reporting agencies that telephone carriers must report to when someone cancels a line and opens a line, okay? Although there are some FCC regulations, there's no real enforcement arm or action against them. And so I don't think they're attended to as well as they should be, because some of the data that we've been given and then data that IT's extracted from the phone companies and what's in our CAD doesn't match. So, you know, we're talking, in our mind, we think a substantial amount of money to at least take a legal look at and see if we need to take a legal position. Okay. But when this ordinance was created, this was not included. Stacy Blankenship over at KKHB. She's looked at several other ordinances similar to ours, and they have an audit clause, and ours does not. So that's why we're bringing this forward, to allow us to go forward.
Does this get applied retroactively? I mean,
Yes.
Are we thinking that we're going to
Yes.
go back on this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because my big question was
me or
going
not.
to be, if we're looking at changing the way that we fund 911, eventually, we had that conversation with the county not too long ago, and there was talk about a parcel fee and all that changing.
Correct, yeah.
What's the point of doing this was going to be my question, but it sounds like there is a good point.
It's to capture monies that maybe have not been accurately reported and paid to us. This revenue source, as we discussed, and across the country is dying on the vine. But we've enacted a tax and, a fee, and we need to make sure that we're paid appropriately and collect all that we're entitled to as an agency. But yeah, there's no platform here for, just so you understand, this isn't a newfound nugget that creates future revenues or that's going to grow. We know it's dying on the vine, but we need to collect what's owed to us. And we're not sure that's being done properly. And we're not claiming improprieties. We're not pointing fingers at anyone stealing from us or anything like that. We're talking an immense amount of data. And the way agencies and our companies keep up with that, we have no control over. And this has been an issue across the country. There are some lawsuits pending from other agencies, and there's one in the Sixth Circuit Appeals District that just got discharged back to the courts for trial. So, again, it's not a new funding that we expect to grow at all. It's just collecting what's owed to us. But we need the ability to do that in case we have a legal position.
Question?
Please, yes.
So the whole ordinance is new, not just the penalties, setting the penalties. The whole ordinance of being able to now audit, that's a new part. And that was taken from some other cities that have the same ordinance?
Oh, that was submitted and prepared by Attorney Blankenship. I just know that in our conversation, she had reviewed other ordinances from other cities, jurisdictions.
That already had this in place?
Correct, and legally.
And this does say amend, just so you know, it's not a new ordinance, it's amending an ordinance that's already in place.
To allow the audit?
To allow the audit
and
by
set the
CPA,
penalty.
and then if we need to take a legal position, it gives us the ability to do that.
And so how will you do the audit?
Well, that's what we've got the numbers assembled, and it's kind of a hard, how do we do the audit? We collect the data from Entrada West is where it is, and the companies, and we compare with what they tell us, what Entrada tells us, because that's the reporting agency that they must report to. And that's where we get our 911 number verifications in our CAD system as well. And then we have to extract that. Steve Chino's done an excellent job with IT in helping us with that. And we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of phone numbers. And then we look at how much money we've been sent. When we receive a check from a carrier, it has on there the Lines City, Lines County. And then we look at the two. So, well, the reporting's this, we're getting paid this. If it doesn't match, then we set that aside as something we need to look further into.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
So I don't mind trying to explain it a different way, but we've met many times to sort this out, and we think we're in a position that we need to create this amendment to move forward.
Great.
We've looked at the data. And then real quick, if it's the appropriate time to catch you up with 911.
Please.
Our CAD RFP, the bids are in, and we're in the process of evaluating and grading those. We expect to have that done by next week. Our telephony, we've submitted the contract with AT&T and Airbus. About 6 weeks ago, they had an engineer on site, took pictures, did drawings and things of that nature. And he informed us that the system would be built at their facility in California. And once that's complete, they will assign a project engineer, and then they'll begin installation. We're hoping around February. They've not given us a date at all because those things have yet to happen. Our logging recorder RFP is complete. We expect that to be released November 17th is the date. And then our dispatch workstations, we're doing an RFP for those. That's currently being done in-house by myself and Assistant Director Stringer, and we hope to have that released in about 2 weeks. Preliminary numbers for budget for phase one, it appears that we may come in under budget. Cross your fingers on that one.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for that.
Right,
Appreciate you. And City Manager, you have a report or comments?
There's a lot of planning going to take place in the community amongst public agencies this week, beginning with Paducah Power Board convening tomorrow morning to begin a extensive strategic planning process with a consultant. I'll be sitting with them beginning in the morning until early afternoon. And a reminder to the City Commission that at 4 o'clock, our planning and goal setting session begins tomorrow evening from 4 to 8 and then resumes on Thursday morning. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any comments from the commissioners?
I was just wondering if either Director Murphy or the city manager could give us an update on the public meeting, the second public meeting I wasn't able to attend.
The Stormwater Master Plan public meeting?
If you're
Good evening, Mayor, Commission, City Manager. With regards to your question, Commissioner Holland, yes, last night we did have a second public meeting at the Civic Center, whereas we had about 28 people show up. Strand and their team did they had, I guess, workstations where people could sit down and show them their home and take information from various portions of the city. Also, we had a few people from the county that showed up. The information was good. The one thing that we're disappointed in is that through all of our outreach, through our advertisement through Facebook, Eric Hickman of my office and some people from BFW actually went door to door and put out 650 door stuffers in areas where we have, drainage problems, inviting them to attend. And with that effort that was put forward and only having 28 people show up, that was a little bit disheartening for us, because we're trying really, really hard to reach out and get this information, to get good data, to build this model. This is something we talked about at the SWAC meeting. The SWAC is a Stormwater Advisory Committee for them to reach out to their neighbors and their contacts and stuff. But it was a very good, I guess, exchange of information, but we just would have been a lot more, I guess, pleased if we had better attendance.
Well, people are super busy, as I'm sure you understand. I don't think public meetings are everybody's thing. Is there another way for people to give input about their issues? I know we did the photos.
We still have that, and if Pam's here, we still have that up on the website as well, where we're requesting that more information's been sent out about. It's still there. Still send us your photos. Give us some information about that. Yes, ma'am. That's still there.
And are there any other phone numbers people can call, or any other way people can give input?
Actually, I believe there's. Did we give our office's phone number, or was there a phone number that we gave for people to?
Well, it's in the engineering department's phone number, but there's the email that goes straight to Eric.
Right. Okay.
Just give people lots of ways to give input.
I mean,
might be nice.
And I'm not on Facebook or
Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor.
So,
okay. Great.
Virtually everywhere we can attempt to communicate, I think.
I can hear you say Morse code.
Yeah. Carrier pigeons, lots of options.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thoughts, questions, comments? No? Okay, we do have one public comment here from the audience. Randy Beeler. I didn't see you walk in. Welcome.
No doubt.
I don't figure anything anymore.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
All right, as you all know, the Veterans Day Parade has come and gone, and due to circumstances beyond our control, we were unable to participate this year. We did stage a peaceful protest at 10th and Broadway, where we honored all of our veterans, dead and alive. The response we had from the veterans was unbelievable, but tonight to say what they said would probably fall on deaf ears. We were very well received by everyone, but I come to thank our veterans for what they had to say, and I want to especially thank Mr. Ricardo Harding. If any of y'all saw the interview he had on Channel 6, he stated, standing across the street, when he looked across the road, he saw no hatred. Simple as that. I just wish everybody would see it like he sees it. That was a very good observation. And once again, Mr. Harding, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. All right. And with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Meeting adjourned.